Welcome everybody to Bitcoin Live, the bigger picture, with two amazing guests, our good friends Adam and Topher. Welcome to Bitcoin Live.
All right, hey guys,
thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's good to have you, and of course my co-host Sid. Hey Sid. Oh, Sid, turn off the mic.
Yeah.
That's actually good policy, but so we're gonna do a movie review because it's a groundbreaking movie in some ways. Well, before we sort of jump in, like, how are you guys doing?
I'm good. Topher, you want to go ahead first?
Yeah, I mean, sure, I'll go ahead. I mean, I wasn't going to say anything other than I'm good. It's good to finally be back with the whole crew. I missed the episode where you guys were on with Adam because I was traveling, and
That's
now
right.
I'm not traveling, so I get to be here. So it's exciting.
Nice. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good too. The show is going well. It was great having you guys on last week. It was always a lot of fun, and we haven't been on for what? It's been at least a couple of months, I would say, few months.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's very relevant that we get together and talk about Disclosure Day.
Yeah, well, before we went live, I sort of pointed out that Topher's amazing image kind of looks like the movie.
Yeah, I think it's a decal sticker that the alien had on its wheelchair.
I can't remember where I saw this. It's probably on Reddit, and it was someone had posted it, and I just think it's the funniest. Someone reacting to an alien, and I laughed so hard when I saw it. I was like, I have to use this. I have to.
Yeah, I think it's probably from the same people that made the special effects for this movie.
Yeah, exactly, definitely. Look at the talent, man. So talented.
Yeah, it pretty much is on par with the CGI we saw in Disclosure Day. So.
We are starting with a bang here.
Yes, we are.
But before we burn the movie down, and we will also say some nice things, or at least I will.
Yeah.
Here's the man himself explaining the movie. It's the trailer.
I've always been fascinated with things that cannot be explained.
What is it?
You won't believe me if I told you, so I'm gonna show you.
And I've made a lot of movies about things that cannot be explained, from sharks to saucers.
Do you think there could be others?
When I was just a little kid, I remember developing a real curiosity about the sky at night and what's happening up there.
People have a right to know the truth.
And also, not the possibility, but the guarantee that there is life off this planet.
People keep wondering, encountering the unknown.
People's questions about what is not only going on in our skies, but what is going on in our worlds, in our realities, has reached a critical mass.
They're coming! They're coming!
Of people's complete fascination with, are we alone or are we not alone?
They are starved for the truth.
And if someone knows we're not alone, why haven't we been told?
Full disclosure to the whole world, all at once.
Okay, so for the people who weren't aware of the trailer, there it was.
Yeah. I mean, the trailers were great, Oh
yeah.
I definitely set. I would say it has nothing to do with the movie, the way they put the trailer.
We also should probably say up top, we are going to talk about spoilers today. Yeah.
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 For
sure.
Spoiler alert!
Yeah, the movie is a spoiler.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I mean, how do you guys want to do this? Do you want to give an overall rating first, and then talk about the details why?
Maybe that's a good way to start. Like, let's start with the rating or how you want to rate it, and then give like a short reason why, and then we can sort of dive into some of the more interesting
details. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
Sid. Why don't you go first? I know you saw the movie several times, and
You're putting me on this.
Yeah,
spot.
Sid, we're very interested in your opinion, especially the details.
Pathetic. It's pathetic. I have not seen it. I have this ability. I can smell bullshit. And when I saw the trailer, I just smelled that it's going to be bullshit. That's why I never bothered to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like nice try, no cigar kind of thing with the movie, but it's not terrible. It's not bad, right? But it's not great. It's I mean, I don't know. I would give it a 7.5 or an 8.
Oh, that's actually really good rating.
8 is pushing it. I think 8 is maybe 7.5.
I think 7 is pushing it. For 7.5.
Well, okay, and I'll tell you why. I think he brought in a lot of Spielberg brought in a lot of things that no one else has brought yet. You know, that's in the lore, that's in the research, which is the psionic stuff, the psychic aspect of it, consciousness. You know, that part. I think that part was really cool. It was a lot of remote viewing, being in two places at one time. And then also, yeah, with the phenomenon as well, how the phenomenon would mask itself by using consciousness, like people's, so they're not afraid of it. The whole abduction thing was cool that way, where it would show something or project an image that would make the subject feel comfortable. So that aspect was like new.
The screen memories.
That Hollywood doesn't do that, you know. So the whole consciousness thing, the telepathy. Well, telepathy's been there. But like altered perception, the abduction sequence was good, I think. But when it came to the alien, it was really cheesy because it's Spielberg. Of course, he's going to make it cheesy. So it was the reason why I don't give it a great rating is because I like when it goes deeper and darker, which Spielberg is not going to do. You know, I think I would need someone like Kubrick to handle this.
But
handle
Spielberg,
disclosure, you know. But you know, Spielberg is not Kubrick. So when it comes to that, that's why I give it like a 7.5 out of 8. I mean, there was a lot of things wrong with the movie. So yeah, that's just in a nutshell, and then we can go deeper after you guys give your ratings.
you Topher?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. When I first walked out, I think I texted Adam and I said, yeah, maybe like a 7 out of 10. But the more I've sat on it, the worse I feel about it. I'm dropping down like a 6 or a 5. The thing was I entertained throughout the movie? Yes. And that's a big part of the movie going experience, in my opinion. If you're entertained, if you're glued to the screen, I think that makes for a good movie. However, coming from the UAP part and coming from someone who's seen a lot of movies and seen a lot of the tropes over and over and over again, I was just kind of like rolling my eyes. Like there's a scene where the two leads, the guy and the girl, they're having a serious conversation about what they know. Why do you know this? How do you know this? What's going on? But for the TikTok generation, you can't have a conversation between two people. So what happens? They get pushed into a moving train in their car. And oh my God, the car is stuck to the train, but that's not enough. Now there's another train coming. Oh my God, what do we do? Well, but that's not enough. Now they're getting shot at. Oh my God. Now they got to climb on top of the car. It's just like, it's that escalation where you can't just have a conversation between two characters because people get bored. You know, it's those kind of tropes that I hate. You know, I think I put it in the group message. I said it's Disclosure Day by Disney because it did feel very sanitized and very safe. There was nothing in there that was like mind-boggling, like out of this world, like, oh, I've never thought about it this way before. It was very, very Disney. I didn't like that the quote-unquote good guys in the movie had an alien in a wheelchair in their back pocket the whole time. You know, they're sure, you need to share this information with the world. And so they go to a local news station in, what was it, Kansas?
Something like that.
And it turns out they've got an alien just chilling with them this whole time. It's like, what have you guys been doing? You could have been doing this forever. And then the movie is called Disclosure Day, but it's not about Disclosure Day. It's about the days leading up to disclosure. And you don't get to see the fallout, which to me would have been the huge swing. What happens to the world after the knowledge of aliens and UAPs is confirmed to be real, and we have a life and you know, flesh and blood alien sitting next to us. And then also, I was really confused. I thought the aliens were supposed to be grays in the movie, but the one at the very end was like 8 feet tall, and I was
blue.
Yeah, I was confused as to what species that was supposed to be, because the whole movie it seemed like they were talking about the grays. So there's a lot in there. But yeah, I'd say like a 5 or a 6 out of 10. I enjoyed it, but I was like, man, this could have been so much better. But God, the trailers, 10 out of 10.
Exactly.
You should have stuck with the trailer and just leave it there, I think.
Sid, here. Good job, Sid.
No, but I agree with your description of Disney disclosure movie. Even though I think it's sort of most Disney films are actually better than this.
It's not the live action remix.
Yeah, I mean Disney likes to get dark, right? And there was none of that. I mean, there were kind of some dark parts in it, but not really.
Yeah, and to be honest, Spielberg can do dark stuff, right? He actually wrote Poltergeist, which is an awesome horror movie.
Yep.
He did, I think, one of the movies, or Twilight Zone, and they did sort of this movie with parts, like segments, and he wrote one of those segments, which was really cool. Of course, Jurassic Park has a lot of dark elements in it, which rocks.
True. Yeah. All right.
And Taken also. Can't forget about that.
Taken, yeah. So he can do it, but I do. Yeah. So my take is, I've been thinking how to rate this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say that certain moments within the film are like a 7 or an 8 or maybe even a 9. But the majority of the film is like a 3 or a 4. So then you come sort of around a 5 and a 6, like Topher. And then I'm being generous because of the fact that he did make this movie at this particular time, and I think that is good. And especially what I really like about Spielberg is that he went on every major news station and talked about it. And then especially it's clear that the guy knows almost everything there is to know about the UFO topic, right? He knows all the big cases. He even mentions the Ariel School encounter. And there's a lot of hints in the movie that go back to Roswell. I mean, there's a lot of lore packed into the movie, but it felt rushed, sloppy, badly put together, like he just did it in a weekend or something. While he was drunk. I don't know. Like it was.
It was weird because there were so many scenes that had me like Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the screen. Like I was like, oh, look, it's Jackie Gleason with Nixon. I know about this.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they're talking about some of the different UFO landings and stuff. Like I know these, but it's just like that's such a small fraction of the movie. It's like,
it is. It's tiny.
And that part sort of at the end was super cool. What they did there, with those Vortex files that they sort of released on air, which that was really cool. And then I thought, okay, well, that's pretty cool. And then they destroy it all by rolling ET onto the floor. And it's like a ridiculous alien. Which actually, if they hadn't done that, or if they had done a better job or a normal job, I would say, it wouldn't have. Otherwise, maybe the movie would have gotten like a 7 for the effort or something. But the ending was,
the ending was bad. I mean, exactly like you said, like it felt rushed, very rushed. So it was already feeling rushed. Why end it like that, right? It ended so abruptly.
And I do know why they had to roll an alien onto the floor, right? Because otherwise he could have released all those files at any moment, right? Because why would you need the live broadcast anyway, unless you could communicate with the alien and she can, and they both can communicate with the alien, of course. So that's sort of the link why they have to go through all the effort there. So I do sort of get that, but yeah, just make a cool alien, right? I mean, how difficult is it these days to make?
Exactly. I mean, Spielberg has made cool aliens before, like in AI. Those were really cool aliens.
And Strange Encounters of Third Kind. They were cool aliens.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, that was the standard, and that movie is so good. And this is piece of shit, to be honest. I haven't watched it, but still, I know the feeling. I've read all the reviews, by the way, on IMDb and all those places, so I know what type of a movie is this. So,
and then Third Encounters, he made it, right? So he set his own standard. So why go below your own? Why destroy your own work?
Right, exactly. I mean, it was cool that they used artifacts as well. Yeah, see, he like tries to bring in all this lore, so people like us in the UFO community, like, yes, that, So maybe he's using emotions that way. But I thought the artifact was cool that they used it. The whole private contractor thing as well, right? I mean, this is stuff we know, so we're like, yeah. But I mean, I think for the general populace, who are not really into this subject, I think it brought in aspects of it just to raise their awareness, of the subject. But yeah, I mean, maybe there'll be a part 2. I don't know, because
I
It
hope
just ended. You know, she goes, listen. She goes, listen. Maybe we'll give him a second chance at part 2.
Yeah.
Going back to the private contractors thing, that's another like movie trope that really pisses me off. Is like they can only look one direction, and so they're like the most incompetent idiots on the. It's like it's this elite task force that's keeping the alien agenda secret, and they can track everyone and do all this, but they can't turn around and see a guy crouching behind like an open fence. Like it wasn't even a fence, like it was 2 pieces of wood, and he's like crouching behind him. Like, what is that doing? They leave their cars unlocked with the keys in it so we can steal one. It's just like, come on, guys.
Yeah, it was super silly. Especially, you know, if you want to like create tension or danger, you know, that kind of feeling in the movie, especially this important, right? Because he's stealing the most important files in the world. And you want to sense that danger, right? And there was no danger. Like these people were fools, idiots, totally incompetent. And then they also didn't seem to clearly know what they were even doing. Like the one moment they were doing this, and then suddenly they turned around and did the opposite of what they were intending to do. And then there's only this guy that looks like Matthew Pines, which actually sort of wants to fulfill the mission, but he's like a buffoon. It's like
I agree with that part, that those people who are hiding, they are buffoons. They can't keep a secret. Everybody knows that. That's not even a secret. So in that way, I will say, yeah, they are buffoons.
Yeah, it was a really, I found it really silly, but I do appreciate the fact that he made a movie and that he went on television to talk about basically the lore behind it, because I do think like this movie was aimed at the general public, and it did create a lot of buzz. But every normal, sort of normal, not UAP drenched, soaked person like we are, they all hated the movie, right? I haven't encountered a single person who said like, "Oh, that was a great movie."
Right.
So I'm going to posit a little bit of a more cynical theory about the name of the movie and Spielberg going on all these major networks. I think it's possible. I'm not sure I fully believe this, but because you know this is Hollywood after all, they're leeches. They want to glom on to the most popular thing going on. But I'd say there's at least consideration to the fact you call it Disclosure Day, you go on all of these media tours talking about the movie disclosure. And so when anyone actually wants to know anything about real UAPs, real stuff that's happening in the disclosure field, what's the first thing that's going to pop up when they Google it or go on YouTube? It's going to be all about this movie, right? And so it's working as a smokescreen for the real work that's going on in the UAP field. Yeah. That's, like I said, very cynical theory, but I think it's worth considering.
No, that's not cynical. That's literally my theory. I think this is a psyop to distract people away from the actual disclosure. Now, whenever you type disclosure, you will get this movie. The other part, what I was like noticing about this movie, and I lost my thought. Sorry. Continue.
I mean, let's not forget that you know, one of the guys that works with Spielberg, God, what's his name? The guy who did Age of Disclosure. I mean, when did that come out? And at the beginning of this year. So you know, that was actually like part 1, and then part 2 was this. Oh, or actually, Disclosure Day was supposed to be part 2 of that, but it wasn't. So I think that's why it's also falling short, because within his bubble, they made the Age of Disclosure, which is, you know, I think a great documentary and putting people on the record that this is real. So, you know, having that there and then having Disclosure Day, he could have really done, I don't know, a much better. Oh, I did want to mention Jerry Bruckheimer, you know, the really famous executive producer, is doing a disclosure movie for Apple. Apple bought it or bid or something.
Movie or documentary?
No, movie.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, well, so it's national. It's NSA. I think two people in the NSA find out about this and then try to disclose it. And then, you know, it's kind of similar, but you know, it is Jerry Bruckheimer, so it could be a lot of fun.
Yeah. The only thing that I have, because Bruckheimer is of course very action oriented.
Yes, very action. Yeah.
And there was actually, there's two things that I really hate about this movie. It was like what I said before, like the sloppiness. It felt hasted. You know. You expect at least a decent movie from Spielberg, and this felt like, you know, way below his normal level. But the second one was that you have so many deeper layers and meanings that he sometimes touches upon, and then he leaves it, and then instead of that, he's gonna do a stupid chase movie that we've seen a million times and doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah.
So why not focus on what's actually interesting here? And I want to play one clip because this is sort of the ending of the movie.
Alien or otherwise, to engage in mysterious activity in our nighttime skies. That is why I will personally ask that the perpetrator be prosecuted to the fullest for the havoc wrought on our entire community. And now I'll ask Officer Stein and his colleagues to escort the accused into the room so that we may all look upon the guilty party. Don't get him too close to
I
the
remember
police.
that.
That's murder, man.
Now, this just goes to show that you guys are entirely too serious.
I think Spielberg was trying to reenact that scene.
It does feel like that a little bit.
It really does. That's a good point. It does feel like that. Huh? He just brings him out at the end. It's like, ha ha ha. Just kidding.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
mean,
serious about it.
if it was a psyop, I think, basically the ending was the psyop of the movie, to turn people off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was such a big turn off. It's like, exactly the Phoenix Lights. You think, okay, this is kind of interesting, and then
Especially that we know what he's capable of. I had to recheck IMDb if he actually directed it, and yeah, he's director, because he's involved in a lot of stuff where he doesn't direct it, right? He'll just produce it. So yeah, he actually directed this one. Interesting.
So let's see some other opinions.
But one thing about Spielberg, like from last 10 years, he is not making good movies. Actually, he's ruining the pretty love and chassis. So I wasn't expecting anything good from him.
Oh, I like Bryce is Able.
Yeah, no, I agree with Sid. Actually, I think Spielberg has lost its touch a while ago. I also hated the new Indiana Jones movie. Was horrific.
That turned me off, basically, from Spielberg. That was like the last straw.
The one with the skull. The one with the skulls. That one.
No. After
there was one that was so bad that you forgot about it.
Yeah. The skull one was fine. The recent one where there is a chick in there, that was.
Oh, I don't think I watched that
the
one.
Crystal Skulls was, I think, also pretty bad. And I did.
It was bad, but at least it wasn't terrible. This one was.
Yeah, it was
really,
serviceable. I agree with Sid.
Did sort of notice with Spielberg, if you sort of look back to most of his movies, the special effects are often a little bit sort of taped together. Like Jaws was also like a floating bathtub, right? If you look back.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones, if you watch an old Indiana Jones movie, they don't survive the test of time. It's not really nice to watch an old Indiana Jones film if you have ever tried
the
it.
first one, like Raiders of the Lost Ark, was amazing.
But
I think because Lucas was involved.
No, but I loved old Indiana Jones films. I watched them 100 times, but I recently rewatched them now. And they didn't survive the test of time. But they're
Interesting.
Really,
Raiders, and then the other one, the Doom one, which was in India. Those two were still my favorite. I recently watched them. I still like.
What's the one that shows the map of the Middle East and says Palestine instead of Israel? People always use it. It's hilarious.
Raiders.
I think Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, this is Bryce.
Take a look at it as a disclosure movie.
Sorry, I have to roll it back here.
I saw Disclosure Day last night in Las Vegas, sitting next to George Knapp, which frankly is not a bad way to watch a Steven Spielberg UFO movie. And before I get into my reaction, I want to say something very clearly. Steven Spielberg, he deserves real credit for taking this on, because this is not a small subject. If there is actually a non-human presence interacting with humanity, and by that I mean in our skies, in our oceans, with our military, the culture, the lives of experiencers, then we're talking about one of the most important issues in human history, and maybe the most important. For Spielberg, at this stage of his career, to put his reputation, his artistry, and his global reach behind a movie that says the public has a right to know, it's not nothing. He could have made anything. Instead, he chose to return to the subject that helped define his career and help shape how millions of people imagine contact. I respect that. I also respect the intent The film clearly tries to argue for openness, empathy, and an end to secrecy. Those are values that I share. In fact, they're part of the reason I do these podcasts, Sound, Light, and Frequency, and also Need to Know. Because a lot of critics, you see, are reviewing Disclosure Day, in fact, most all of the critics, as a Spielberg movie. I want to take a look at it as a disclosure movie. And
so I think that's sort of an important point, right? I also watched this movie more as homework because I'm into UFOs, and I didn't really go into the movie expecting, for the movie itself, right? I mean, that was sort of like a bonus, but I was expecting not so much like Sid because of the last Indiana Jones, so I didn't have like a very high hope. But I thought like, the first half of the movie was a pretty decent movie. So I thought like, oh no, maybe it's going to surprise to the upside. Until, of course, the animals appeared.
Yeah,
does anybody understand why did he create a young Emily Blunt animated? Like, why did he animate her, and why did he animate the creatures? Like, and what?
I was really confused about that. I walked out of the theater wondering, like, why in the world? Who signed off on making the animals look so terrible? I mean, we had better CGI like 10 years ago than what we saw.
Maybe it's on purpose, no? That was it's a projected image, that because obviously it wasn't the animals doing that. It was the aliens, right? And there's a projected image of the animals.
Yeah, but I mean, I can understand that, right? Screen memories with owls and that kind of stuff. I mean, that's pretty cool. I also understand that he chose a deer because that's connected to Jesus. Mm-hmm. And the cardinal also has a religious connotation. And the cardinal was okay, right? I mean, that was,
the cardinal, for sure.
On the edge, but, that was still okay. But the deers, and then why put because if the animals are aliens, like, because that's what he's suggesting in the movie, mm-hmm. When they come into the little house, the field is full of aliens, right? Because hundreds of deers and staring at them. So why are there hundreds of aliens looking at them in the little house? It's a very frustrating movie.
Right, and then them creating the house was pretty cheesy, I think, too. He pretty much hinted that's what's going on in the background with the other operative, right, that went rogue, that was building the house, and they apparently built the house in like 2 days, 3 days.
Yeah,
right?
To sort of get her repressed memories back to her and to reenact the scene, but it's just.
You think they would just have started with her bedroom rather than the whole house?
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. That's where it all happened.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sorry. I understand like the animals. It's a screen for but it just looked so bad. Like you can make them.
I agree.
You can be like, there's something off about that deer, but instead it's like distractingly bad CGI. I don't know. I just think there's a way to do it without making it look like that.
Yeah, I think there's many cool movies where horror movies where they do something with animals that hint that there's something more to the animal. You can name countless movies. I don't know, Antichrist from what's his name, where you see the fox, let chaos run, or there's so many animal things. You can make a cool animal, right? It's not impossible to make a cool animal.
No,
it's just anyway.
Yeah, I'm waiting for South Park to do parody of Disclosure Day.
Oh, that's great.
They do the best, man.
Yeah.
But then this part is, I think, more to the point. Oh, I have to turn on the sound, of course.
Necessarily the right ones for me. These are my questions. What about abductions? What about missing time? What about these medical procedures? What about implants? What about the nuclear site overflies? What about USOs? What about the pilots who have chased objects they couldn't explain? What about these experiencers who are not chosen messengers but are traumatized witnesses? What about the reports of huge craft, silent craft, impossible craft, the objects that are coming out of the water, objects that split apart, orbs that merge and vanish, accelerate, and seem to know when they're being observed? What were all of these doing? What are they doing now? Who's inside them? Or is the movie's answer simply, don't worry, this is ultimately about us learning to be kinder? That is where I part company with the film. I don't object to empathy. Empathy is one of Spielberg's great themes. It's one of his greatest gifts as a filmmaker. But empathy without curiosity becomes sentimentality. If non-human intelligence has been interacting with humanity for 80 years, then the story isn't about whether we have treated them badly. It's about what has been done to us. This film's emotional posture seems to be humanity must prove itself worthy of contact. Maybe we have not been abducting them. We have not been paralyzing them in their bedrooms. We have not been flying silently over nuclear installations they own. We have not been appearing over their oceans, their cities, their deserts, and their military ranges, and then vanishing without explanation. So when this movie drifts toward the idea that the main disclosure lesson is human humility, I mean, I understand the impulse. I even admire it, but I don't think it's enough. Not now. In 1977, Close Encounters could end at Devil's Tower with music, light, and a door opening. That was enough because it was an invitation to wonder. It was the perfect film for that moment. The government was secretive, but the aliens, they were luminous. The unknown was frightening, but finally benevolent. The universe was mysterious, but ultimately musical. That was 1977. This is 2026. And maybe that's why I left the theater frustrated. I wasn't angry. I'm not really being dismissive. I guess I was just frustrated because I think there is a better, braver, stranger, more unsettling movie hiding inside this movie. A movie about the fact that disclosure may not arrive as a clean revelation. It may arrive as a crisis of trust. And that is what Disclosure Day never quite becomes. It is too busy being a chase film when it should be a reckoning. It's too eager to resolve mystery when it should deepen it. And it's too confident in Spielbergian healing when the real world may require something more uncomfortable. And that would be accountability. So here's my bottom line. If you go to Disclosure Day wanting a well-made Spielberg thriller.
Well, I wouldn't say...
I agree with him there because he starts out with the preface that he went in watching this as a disclosure movie. You know, if I had that perspective, I would say it's a 2 as well, right?
Yeah.
So I guess it is about the perspective. I mean, if you want disclosure from this movie, you're not really going to get it.
My issue was this: what he was talking about, that the lore of this movie was like, we are the bad guys, aliens are the good guys, we have to show empathy. That was the theme, and I'm totally against that because, as he was saying, that we are not going to their planet, we are not spying on them, we are not abducting them, we are not mutilating their cattle. So this is the whole thing. Like, they are the problem. If anybody is a problem, maybe none of us are a problem. But like, if you want to tackle this issue, you have to tackle it the correct way. We are on the right side here. It's our home.
Well, you know, I'm not fully on board on that because, you know, clearly we have been shooting down UFOs and
because they are coming to our like no trespassing. Earth is our home. If somebody else enter
private
our house,
property.
we will shoot them. That's like
private property rights.
Well, unless of course they lived here first, and we are trespassing.
There is no evidence. There is a
we don't know.
zero. Where is evidence? Okay.
There is the case that they might be crypto-terrestrials, or that they
whatever they are. We are talking about this reality on this planet.
But
we are here for a long time. We see some gods are coming, like the pagan gods. Maybe they were alien, but still they were still the aliens. If you go to Sumerian mythology, they come from a different planet, and people start worshipping them. They start engineering humans. But this is even if they are from underground, it's still on the surface. It's our home.
Yeah, but
we fight among each other, but that's a whole different story.
We actually know that there were extinction level events in the past, so they can actually be in like Atlantis, that they are an Atlantic civilization that survived the catastrophe, and that
for sure there's remnants of that. Yeah, definitely. But I think when it comes to ETs, I forgot who was this. Giorgiani who said this. I'm trying to remember who I heard this from, but that we us on the surface humans work for the ones below the surface, and we are like part of a defense shield, so if there are ATs, that we are supposed to shoot them down based on who we really work for, which is
that's a
the
take.
civilization underground. Yeah, I'm trying to remember where I heard that from.
No, that's like a hollow earth theory, right? That's the whole thing.
Yes, hollow earth. But I mean, there are huge caverns anyway within
No, I believe in hollow earth, by the way. But at the end of the day, on the surface, still, it's our home.
Yes, I mean, it is our right to shoot down whatever's coming into our airspace.
If they want to be nice, just come and talk to us, right? Publicly, and then they won't have this issue.
But remember, what's his name? Hellier, the ex-Canadian defense minister. I mean, he always talked about that. He goes, this cabal is shooting down these craft, and he knew that they were shooting them down, right? He's like, oh, they're going to start a war, and I don't know what. There might be a reason why they're doing that. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, that's also the line from Stephen Greer, right? That they're actually peaceful, and that we are the aggressors, and that we took over that we're actually shooting them down with our own technology, which has been suppressed for over a century. And then on top of that, of course, I am of the belief that there's not one species or not one NHI, but multiple. Like, so you can have actually good guys and bad guys fighting each other.
I was just thinking that same thing. Yeah, I mean,
his name is Paul Hellier.
Running around up there.
Yeah.
Sorry, his name is Paul Hellier. Adam was talking about the guy.
Paul Hellier.
Yeah.
So
he actually come up with this idea that if aliens land, what should be our SOPs and how should we integrate them? Like, he built the whole system for that in Canada. At least he proposed it.
So this is also interesting because some people ask, like, why did Spielberg make his own creation, right? Because it sort of incorporates some of the lore, but it does it in a very unique Spielbergian way. Mm-hmm. And he could also represent it more factual. It sort of deviates from what we actually know, right? In some important ways, like what Bryce was saying about abductions. There's a lot of stuff missing from the movie or reinterpreted in a certain way. And this is his answer. This is Spielberg's answer.
Things started to get into the mainstream, and then after that, there was a lot of documentaries were being made, and I saw all of them. Every doc made about this, and you can't make a doc unless people come forward. Now, it's not under oath. You're giving testimony to a documentary crew, but a lot of people from Congress, from the military, started coming forward.
Did you actually talk to any of those whistleblowers in preparation for this? Did you try to reach out to anyone?
I actually purposely stayed away from that.
Really? Why?
Because I wrote a story. My story is a science fiction story, but it's the foundation upon which I built my science fiction story is a very, very credible foundation just based on everything that I've absorbed over many, many decades, but especially over the last, the last, I would say, decade.
One of the things that you are...
So he purposely made his own movie, like he told his own story in his own way. And I think that's also why the emphasis on empathy, which I didn't mind, by the way. I thought actually that was kind of cool. Because there's a lot you can say that, basically they're claiming in the movie that empathy is actually our super weapon instead of our weakness. And that if we actually want to survive or, survive the great filter moment, that we should actually emphasize empathy instead of, what we're doing right now, because it's basically openness and empathy versus secrecy and destruction, right? Lying and destruction. And I think we can make a strong case for this reading of Spielberg that's sort of the opposition that we're going through. If you keep this secret, that's way more of a problem and way more dangerous than if you actually open up the file and share it.
Of course, because it protects corruption, it protects secrecy, it protects like elitism, right? Which is not good for a civilization.
Yeah, and also on a psychological level, right? If you want to grow, you have to be honest and open and transparent about yourself and always also towards others, right? Because otherwise, the more you keep it secret, the less growth you have because you spend more and more energy in, maintaining the secret, which doesn't allow for further growth and development, right? So there's a lot of And this is also what what's his name?
Wygant? Wygant.
Thomas Campbell, from The Big Toe.
So close.
It was because of I used the Dutch word while I was talking. But Thomas Campbell from The Big Toe, he's also psionics and all that kind of stuff, and in outer body experiences and UFOs. But he has sort of this idea of entropy, right? That entropy, as consciousness and awareness grows and evolves, and cooperation, that actually reduces entropy, and that the whole point of our evolution is actually entropy reduction.
Yes,
that's the whole point of the in his case, it's one giant simulation.
Right, because entropy would kill, not kill, but maybe freeze the source of consciousness, right? That's what he's saying, because entropy would just stop all that. But if you continue growing consciousness and creativity, it'll continue to grow.
Yep. And it also reminded me of this statement by Sheehan. It was very interesting in one of his first interviews with Jesse Michels.
Brinton, who was the chairman of the Department of Intellectual History at Harvard for like 30 years. And he was going to be doing his last lecture. And he said, I have come to realize that our human family is right on the brink of its next step in biological evolution. And the key factor that's going to differentiate the next species from us is this evolution of this faculty that is able to directly and immediately experientially access a certain vibrational frequency that exists in the universe, like light or like sound, but that there's an extraordinarily subtle bonding phenomenon that bonds every single ultimately irreducible integer of matter in the entire physical universe into one unified harmonic whole, by means of which we can access this experience. And when one has this experience, and that you lock into this unitive phenomenon in the universe, and it can download all kinds of information to you non-linearly, like seeing or hearing.
That's
so, and I'd heard.
So basically, that also implies empathy, right? An openness to the universe, and that we can actually in harmony join the greater collective, or whatever you want to call it.
And isn't that, looking through that lens, isn't that the theme of all of Spielberg's movies? I mean, specifically, I'm thinking of like, Close Encounters and even E.T. I mean, it's all the movies are about, aliens or whatever, but it's the human story that pushes those narratives, and it's always that, the human, empathy or kindness or whatever that makes us superheroes in a sense or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And Spielberg does definitely, it is across his movies, that theme.
Yeah, you even have like the very first movie that he ever made when he was 17, Firelight, is basically also about that theme. It's a horrible movie, by the way, but
I have not seen it.
UFOs and abductions, and basically about empathy. And so basically he created like a standard Spielberg movie, but with very sort of Christian overtones, right? Because one of the things that I found very interesting was the reaction to this movie was very vehement, right? So especially from Christian communities who saw, some of them saw it as an attack, some others saw it as sort of like an update or sort of a reinterpretation, but many also saw it as a direct attack on Christian faith, because there's like so many Christian elements woven into the movie, including the empathy, right? Because that's basically the message of Jesus. But I want to play this one because I found this super fascinating, from Strange Normal. And this is, of course, not how every Christian perceives this movie, but it is very interesting.
The movie also takes the position of the church. Is God our God only on this planet, or is God a God for every system where there's civilization, intelligent life, and even developing life?
Steven Spielberg just asked that on national television, and he thinks it's a brave new question. It's not. A fair warning, spoilers are ahead. And if you're a Christian, this video probably is the one you should finish, because what Spielberg has built isn't attacking your faith, it's replacing it. Here's the movie in a nutshell. Disclosure Day. The movie in theaters this weekend is Spielberg's biggest film in a decade. a bookend to Close Encounters of the Third Kind. The setup is aliens never left. The contractor, Wardex, has hidden the proof for 80 years, and one man leaks the entire archive to all 8 billion of us all at once. On the surface, it's a chase movie. Underneath, it's a Bible story with the names changed. Now, I'm not reaching for this either, because secular critics have already said this, all Christian reviewers. So one of the major Christian news outlets flat out called the film a sci-fi reimagination of the Judeo-Christian beliefs and a riff on Exodus. Their words, not mine, all right? 2 ordinary people, Margaret, a weather girl, and Daniel, gets chosen, touched by the visitors, and suddenly their gifts are poured out. What gifts? Well, Margaret wakes up and speaks a fluent Russian and then Korean fluently. Well, real languages she never learned. She looks at people in the eyes and knows their secrets. She sees the future before it happens. Tongues, prophecy, reading of the heart, the exact gifts of the Holy Spirit pours out in the Bible. And here's why that should land harder than the movie should. This is already happening right now off the screen. Chris Bledsoe, one of the most famous UFO contactees in America today, openly said his encounters gave him the power to heal.
I came back a different person. I walked up the hill and walked up on these big glowing balls of fire, not flying saucers, not aliens with ray guns. I've never seen anything like that. It was truly a spiritual thing.
He claims he's healed his own dog. He's healed strangers on the street. He's healed people in Washington, D.C. Signs and wonders, right? Well, not in a Spielberg script, in real life, this decade. Spielberg is just dramatizing what men like Bledsoe are already telling us is real. The movie isn't predicting the future, it's reporting the present.
So that's it's a very interesting, and sort of his take is that that's basically not angels or gods that's talking. I can actually play that last clip also, but it's basically demonic.
By the way, I agree with most of the things he's saying except the Judo-Christian part, because the Judos built that movie. Continue.
I mean, you know, there's a reason why Jews are the best writers in Hollywood. I mean, you know, in my opinion, the Bible is a complete science fiction story. So they've had thousands of years of practice of doing it. So for Spielberg to reimagine it, you know, is not really a surprise to me, because he knows the elements and what can be used in there.
And also, at the start, you see the short clip from Spielberg, right? And then he talks like about God not being the God of only this world, but this person, this guy from this channel, he interprets that statement from Spielberg, I think, in a very strange way. Because when I heard Spielberg say it, I think what Spielberg was talking about was actually that God is the God of the entire universe.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? If there is an actual creator, and I think there is, I believe there is, then of course he's going to be the God of every single being in the universe, right? So what's this guy saying? He's saying that God is only our God, and that
he's talking about God of every planet, God of every civilization. That's like the stupidest God I have ever heard in my life. So when we talk about the real God, he's not just the creator of this universe, he's the creator of every universe.
Everything. Exactly. Of entirety. Exactly.
Who is outside this creation, his creation, like all the universe, all the time, and all those things, time and space, he's outside of that. So
agree.
So but what he thinks Spielberg is saying is something completely different. He is interpreting Spielberg to say that our God is only our God of this planet. But that's, I think
Spielberg said that literally when you start the clip, that was his words. He's not interpreting it. No. If you go back and where Spielberg is saying the exact same thing, that what if there are other gods of other civilization who created them? Like why he exactly said that. So he's not interpreting it. He's like saying.
I'm gonna go back.
The movie also takes the position of the church. Is God our God only on this planet, or is God a God for every system where there's civilization, intelligent life, and even...
So he's saying that there's one God for every system, like, so there's not like different gods for different systems. He's saying there's one God.
I think after that he said, or maybe I misunderstood that.
I
Because
think
this
you
is
misheard it.
okay.
So, but anyway, and then he actually makes the point himself, because he references the Bible here, and he makes the case that God is indeed the God of like the entire thing, like Sid says, like beyond time and space, and
Earth only God who never saw it coming. But the Bible never said that Earth was alone, not once. It's full of other beings, angels, and not just one kind. Cherubim, seraphim, ranks and orders of all kinds. I would even say races of these cherubim and seraphim. Open the oldest book of the Bible, Job. The Bible describes morning of creation. The morning stars sang together. All the sons of God shouted for joy. Other beings singing before single human existed. Nehemiah, the hosts of heaven worshiped thee. The hosts, not earth's little choir, hosts of heaven. Paul to the Corinthians, he says, by him all things were created that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible. All of it, every system, every world, one maker. And think about this for a second. That doesn't mean that when God creates holy beings that they're coming down to this terrible, sinful earth and going to communicate with us. Don't think they're ever going to even want to talk to us because we are infected with this thing called sin. But listen to what Jesus himself said. He tells a story about a shepherd who leaves a 99 sheep and goes and finds one that he lost. And here's the line nobody talks about. Luke 15:7 says, there's more joy in heaven over the one that's found than over 99 just persons which need no repentance. Stop on that for a second. Which person needs no repentance here on earth? Who's that? Every human on this planet needs a savior. All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. So who are these 99 who don't? And why do they make up the majority? And that majority wasn't the church leaders of earth. They make up a very small minority. It makes you wonder if Jesus was just pointing back past earth to beings who never fell, who never needed rescuing. While we were the lost sheep, this planet, this small, little, terrible, infected planet that he came down here to find, we were the black.
So we were the black sheep. But, I think this is like a very extremely Protestant.
Very.
Because Catholics, they also believe in original sin.
Yes.
But basically, you can get baptized, and that sort of removes the sin, and then you can sort of get it again because you're inclined to sin, but only if you do it. And then you have the Orthodox Christians who actually don't believe in original sin in the same way as Catholics and Protestants, because they believe in cosmic sin. So basically, with the fall of Adam and Eve, that you introduce death and old age and all that kind of stuff, and that's the sin. And then basically humans are just judged on their actions. Yeah. But it's interesting that
also the 19 sorry.
Go.
Also that 99 people in the Bible, I think Jesus is referring to other prophets. There are prophets who are sinless. So
that's a good perspective.
Right? Yeah, the prophets are sinless, right? They don't commit sin. Otherwise, they won't be a prophet. Some have, but most of them, like at least the great prophets like Moses, Abraham, those guys.
But I do sort of understand and sympathize with the idea that they kind of feel threatened by this merger of sort of Christian elements with this UFO revelation, right?
That's always been the issue, right? From day one, they've always said, "Oh, religion is going to collapse," and that whole paradigm And yeah, it's because of this, you know.
Yep.
I think before the Department of War started dropping everything, remember all the pastors going on TV, you know, scared, saying, "Oh, they're gonna they're gonna say aliens created humans," and you know all that stuff. It never happened.
Yeah, but did you notice there was only one type of religious people, evangelicals,
Yes.
extremely Protestant people who were worried about that? You don't find Catholics worrying about that, Muslims,
No,
any other
no.
religion except them, because they are, we know, under control of Israel. And that's the propaganda they want to push. Religion is not going anywhere, no matter how hard you try.
No way. It's too powerful. I mean, it's too powerful for the controllers to use. And now with Avi Loeb, you know, sitting there at the White House. I mean, you know, it's just too obvious that they're trying to steer the conversation. Who's that? And Shermer, they put Shermer on that board. I mean, that guy is such a piece of crap.
Okay, so I'll play a little bit more and then we'll skip with this guy.
Wonders. Not fake, not cheap, special effects, real power, telling false stories. That's this whole movie's formula. Real gifts, real wonders, real awe, pointed at the wrong God. This is the part of the world cannot defend against, because the world has no test. The culture already believes everything this movie needs it to believe. So when the real thing shows up, there's nothing left to stop it. And make no mistake, the real thing is being prepared. This film opens the same weekend real disclosure was demanded on the steps of the US Capitol. Hollywood and Washington asking the exact same question in the same season. That's not a calendar lineup. That's a current pulling in the same direction. So you have a test, one test, Isaiah 8:20. To the law and to the testimony, if it speaks not according to this word, it's because there is no light in them. So any being, any gift, any voice, any glowing visitor, however kind, however real, that sources its spirit's power to the sky instead of to Christ, that calls necromancy a gift, that sells knowledge in the place of a savior, has just told you exactly what it is. No matter how good the movie is. And here's how you lose the fear. Because
so basically, and that's also a theme that I notice with certain Christians, is that that angels would never come to Earth to interact with us because I don't know, because it's not allowed or something.
Because we're full of sin.
Yeah. Well, that's what he's claiming in this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you see angels interacting with human beings
All the time.
Throughout the ages. Yeah, I think the Catholic Church has a full library of these encounters.
Yes.
So I find that really strange that it would be impossible for some of these beings to be what they perceive to be angels, right? I'm not saying they are angels, but you know that they have been interpreted as angels, and that they are not all demons or bad, or you know. And this whole framework is kind of, clunky and
it is. It really is. I mean, if they talk about the glory of God and he's talking about, you know, the maker of the entire universe, it's just, why can't you open your mind to that? You know, if that's true, and I believe it's true, then there's just so many different sentient beings, and you know, a lot might come visit here and leave, and but there should be a lot of that going on if that's true. And for someone to just label it as either angelic or either demonic, you know, it's just, I don't know. It's just not just shallow, but it's like closed-minded in a way.
Yeah, but you can sort of see that why those pastors were invited over, because if this is the mindset with large chunks of the community, then that would lead actually to a rebellion purely on dogmatic faith. And then on top of that, you also have what Carl Nell described as sort of ontological shock. Like, what if you actually meet an angel in real life? Like, you know, it's one thing to believe in them, it's another thing to actually interact and see one. Right. You know, you might lose your mind or something. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I sort of, you do kind of see in this reaction to the movie that there might be a lot of strife in society, also on religious basis.
Yeah, religious basis, technological basis. I mean, a real disclosure movie or Disclosure Day should have been like the Lost Century, that Stephen Greer documentary. That perfectly encapsulates disclosure and the issue with it, and why we need it. Right? It's held us back. You talked about that also previously. It's held back humanity. We have not been able to progress technologically and philosophically. Right? We're stuck in 1950s. This 1950s bubble, and then philosophically we're stuck in like the Bronze Age.
Yeah, but I also understand, like, if those beings are interpreted as angels or as gods or whatever, then at the moment that they appear and they are labeled as such, then they take over, right? Because then they are what we believe them to be. And
Yeah.
and then the prophecies are fulfilled, right? And then who are we to disagree with a godlike being or an angel or a messenger from God? Or so I also understand the trepidation, right? That if these are actually aliens or angels, sorry, if these aliens are angels, then according to theology, they know more than we do, and they should be listened to and obeyed because they are messengers from God. And they
No,
from God.
like that's totally opposite of theology. Theology said, do not listen to anyone, especially angels. Do not worship them. Worship only God. That's like the opposite of it.
I'm not saying that they should be, but like you say, you should listen to them. So if they have a message,
no, not even listen. Like God have already sent His prophets, and Jesus is here. Even from Christian theology, we don't need to listen to angels. Maybe prophets, yes, but other than that, yeah, that's like the opposite of theology. Because most of the time, the reason for that, you may perceive them as an angel, but they are probably demons. That's why.
That's exactly what this guy is claiming in this video that we just saw. Exactly what
Yeah,
you're saying here.
no, but regarding the point of theology, we should not listen to, like, theology has a standard over there. Do not listen to other beings. Listen to what you have been told by Jesus.
But doesn't that then lead to a conflict, right? Because if these beings then show up and they tell us something, then we shouldn't listen to them. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
So even if they're good and they have a positive,
when they come, they are already called, like theology already prophesies the Antichrist and his demons and Gog and Magog. Those beings, you're literally supposed to.
But you just said that the Bible was made up, and
I didn't say that. Adam said that.
I said that.
Yeah.
Anyway, but the point is, the Bible is divine inspired, right? It's divinely inspired.
Yeah. Divinely inspired through a proper prophet, not directly through angels.
Yeah, I mean, even the Mormons say that their book is divinely inspired. So I mean,
a divinely inspired doesn't mean like exactly word for word true. Right?
True, exactly.
It's an interpretation.
Yeah.
Yes,
and then there is evidence that it has been changed for years. So it's not even like Bible has been changed. Like everybody believes that.
Yeah,
it is inspired, but then there are changes in that. Yeah.
Okay, but the point is then, what if these beings show up and present themselves? That does leave us then with a huge problem for religious communities if then they are automatically perceived as demons or intruders or fakers.
No, if they come here and claim that they are angels, then yeah, they are demons. If they come here, they say they are another being, like another creation or another life form from a different planet, then they are not even claiming to be a divine. So that's fine. We can accept other beings, other aliens. That's a whole different, like, depends on the scenario, right? If they claim to be creators or like angels or whatever, then yeah. No, but religious people will not accept it. I won't accept it either. I'm not even very religious.
I mean, yeah, if you're an intelligent species that wants to take over the planet, I think the easiest way is to understand the religion, the mythology, and then present yourself, as that. So, like you said, if we have some beings presenting themselves as our mythology, or I wouldn't trust it. I would, seek out.
Yeah, if they come out and they say they are from Alpha Draconis planet, and they are like just another being evolved on that planet, and they are highly advanced. I don't think theology is colliding with that issue. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, there will be some Christians who do not believe in, or even Muslims or whatever, those who do not believe in evolution. That's a whole different story. But that's not like a direct conflict.
Yeah.
Okay, but what if these, if human beings start following them and listening to them and following
They
their,
will do it. I'm
It's
not
gonna
saying they
happen.
won't. Yeah,
Yeah.
More
It's gonna
majority
happen.
will. But that's
Yeah.
that the religious thing is different from just the overall people. People are stupid, right? So they will follow the fleshy thing.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
like-
it's the whole cargo cult thing,
Yeah.
right? I mean, just humans are going to do it, unfortunately. And maybe that's what the secrecy is about too. They don't want people just starting to worship these things. And you know, if you can control religion, you control humanity. So it might go rogue if this is
and
out.
then the idea of one world religion, that will be that. That's something which
Mm.
is prophesied that this is going to be a problem. One world religion of
Yeah.
Antichrist. This is exactly what's going to happen. Majority of the people will follow that, and I'm
yeah, well,
expecting it.
and then that's basically, you know, what some Christians claim this movie is, by sort of merging the ET with theology, because there's a lot of Christian symbolism within the movie, as he rightly points out. It's kind of obvious that you know, they're setting it up as a sort of overarching religion where you know, basically God or angels come back to Earth and we can talk to them directly, right? And also, right, the ending of the movie, I sort of realized that the ending of the movie with disclosure, when everybody sees it on his phone or her phone, it's kind of like the Pentecost, you know, like the spreading of knowledge or sort of revelation over the humanity, and sort of breaking that barrier of secrecy and leading to empathy and openness that we discussed earlier. So it's sort of like the Holy Spirit spreading. I mean, you can sort of see that symbolism within the movie as sort of a revelation or at the ending.
Yeah, I didn't think about that until now. Yeah, you're totally right. Totally spot on there.
Yeah, so I do sort of understand that many Christians who sort of see this movie as a vehicle, and like we discussed with Project Bluebeam, like creating a new overarching world religion. And then, you know, when you look at all these UFO cults, and I did the article about Eternal Oracle, and then sort of when you look at those four things, you know, the promise of a coming utopia or golden age, a racial or chosen people element that elevates certain humans above others or aliens, the visitors as benevolent saviors or messiahs who will intervene, and the portrayal of humans as helpless, immature, and self-destructive, right? So, I mean, those are, of course, the elements of many religions.
Yeah.
We're sinful, we're fallen, we need something from higher up to help us and save us. And some people are closer to it than other people. And so it has, and of course, golden age is, of course, heaven, the end of history. So, yeah. That's all in this movie, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It's definitely all in there. I can see why. I understand the fear of a one world religion, you know, but they've been trying that forever. Look in Dubai, where they have that that park. It's all the three religions are there, right? They have, I think, a Catholic church, a synagogue, and a mosque as well.
Yeah.
You know. So, and many people think that the whole Antichrist project is in the UAE.
UAE is like, we call it East Israel. Anyways.
East Israel. Yeah, there's a lot of truth in that.
Nobody trusts UAE. Like Israel, like UAE is like equally hated country as Israel.
I know, it's crazy.
World. Yeah.
What did they do to man? It wasn't like that 20 years ago, that's for sure.
Yeah, because the way they treat it, especially, we all talk about Palestinian genocide, but nobody talks about Sudanese genocide, which was done by UAE.
Yeah,
and just for gold, not even for land. They did it because they wanted to capture the gold mine. They killed, I think, over 1 million people in like 10 years or something. It's
fucking
crazy.
Bastards, man. And the whole Somaliland thing. I think the only ones who recognize Somaliland are UAE and Israel. That's
Israel.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, we also have to say something nice about the movie. So I think sort of what saved the entire movie was Emily Blunt's
Yes,
performance.
she was great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she
She's a
carried
great
the
actor.
movie.
Yeah.
If it
Now-
wasn't for her,
This is going to be a hot take. I think the best performance, I'm not joking, the newscaster lady at the end who's like on
Yeah.
CNN when they're
Oh,
like
yeah.
showing the clips and she's trying to hold it together as they're like showing proof of UFOs and aliens and stuff. I was like, damn, that lady, complete unknown actress, great job.
Good memory.
yeah, that was actually I did like that part. That was a nice climactic.
Yeah. I thought so too. I was like, I believe this. I can see this going this way. I totally believe it.
Her accents were great, huh? She spoke Russian, and then what else did she speak? But yeah, I
Korean.
thought those Korean. Yeah, she did
Korean,
great
yeah.
there too.
And I think that was really cool. That was really cool about the movie. And then also her interaction with her husband, who sort of totally
Yeah.
doesn't understand what's going on. And she says, yeah, you just have to go here and then there and, and run over my phone.
Yeah.
There was some.
The guy was along for the ride for the first part anyway. He was like, all right, fine. Yeah.
Oh,
you wanna
yeah.
crash your phone?
I'm
You want to
outta
crash your
here.
phone? Sure. Let's do it.
Yeah, so and then the question is like, is Spielberg read in, right? What is your take there?
I mean, a lot of people said he was because of Close Encounters. Not really read in, but they would give him some information about things. For this movie, I don't think that happened. Now it could have been because in Closer Encounters he was advised by Vallée, right, Jacques Vallée.
Yep.
For this movie, he said he wasn't advised by anyone. Oh, that's it. Just quickly, that Jerry Bruckheimer movie, Grush is an advisor on it.
Cool.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
so-
for this one is Lou Elizondo. So
I think Lou did the writing and the dialogue.
Oh, that's right. Did you guys see that clip with Ross Coulthard today talking about Lou Elizondo?
I did.
He's calling him out.
Can we play it? Nick, can you play it?
Can you send it to me, Adam?
Wait a minute. I'm gonna have to find it.
Yeah, so I do think that Steven was read in, or at least very close to that thing, because of what you said. Jacques Vallée doesn't just advise just anybody
right
on a movie, right? And Spielberg said that he sort of became famous after Jaws, and Third Encounters was after Jaws, and then he basically nobody talked to him anymore. He said, except apparently Jacques Vallée out of nowhere. So that was really strange, and I think of the ending of Strange Encounters is also sort of a tell, right? Because of what Jake Barber said about the colors and the sounds. So I want to play that clip from Barber.
Yeah,
because that's really cool.
I sent you the Ross clip too on.
Okay, let's do that one first.
And it's crazy that Ross is calling out Lou in a way. I mean, it's good. I'm surprised, but
I'm surprised too, because Ross is very calm person. He never called out anybody.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's good. So while Nick is looking for it, one good alien movie is like They Live. Man, they are the cool aliens.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a classic.
Yeah.
And did you guys also see The Burrows on Netflix?
No.
Well, that I was thinking like, why didn't Spielberg just make something like that? Because that is super cool. That it even has a Spielberg vibe. It's also about empathy, and it's if you haven't seen The Burrows, go watch it. But that series is like a million times better than the entire Disclosure Day movie or Obsession. It's also a great movie.
Retirement Community. Is it this one? The Retirement Community, Group of Unlikely Heroes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sick. I'm gonna have to check that out.
That's really cool.
It's pretty obvious, I'm not going to lie to you, that the gentleman that I've been talking about, whom I suspect might be up for a big position, is Lou Elizondo. And as you may have noticed in recent weeks, I have been quite delicately outspoken in my belief on previous Q&As that I think Lou needs to be more forthcoming about his past roles. And I like and respect Lou a lot. And I think he's in a difficult position because he's bound by his security oath about what he can reveal about his past roles. I know he can't talk about it. It's a ridiculous situation. But there are people who bitterly resent and don't think it's a good idea that Lou be appointed to a position of power in UAP transparency because they think that he was part of a previous agenda that was essentially to try to control the narrative, to restrict what the public is entitled to know about the UAP disclosure. And I think a lot of this was an intention by James Clapper, General James Clapper, to try and impose a narrative on the public domain using Lou as a frontman, a highly urbane, articulate and likeable frontman, to try to restrict what the public was told about crash retrievals. And it struck me over the years that I've been covering this issue that the story that we ran with David Grush really wrong-footed all of this. That all of a sudden David comes out and says, hang on a moment, we're not just arguing here about whether there are aliens or not. What we're talking about here is a crash retrieval and reverse engineering program, and I'm saying it's real, he says. And I think that did wrong foot that national security state attempt to try and provide a controlled disclosure. But I refuse to accept that the people like Lou Elizondo, who were part of that attempt at a controlled disclosure, were motivated by bad things. They're patriots. They love their country. And I've spoken to people in the legacy program who knew Lou. Lou, I know a lot of people, and they know you, and I know you can't speak about the role that you've held within the legacy program, but you did. And I think we've got to stop this nonsense because it's becoming destructive. There are factions and bitternesses beginning to develop within the UAP world, and I think it's in danger of blowing the whole thing apart.
Ouch. Ouch.
Oh my
Ouch.
God. That's amazing.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Very
Then,
cool.
I think also with Disclosure Day, I think the one of the things that's super important for humanity to grow up and to become mature is of course also what Bryce was saying, like accountability, right? We have to have accountability for what we did, and this 80-year legacy program and secrecy, it has to come out in the open before we can ascend, so to speak, right? If you leave that where it is and you don't disclose that part of it, right? I mean, it's nice to know that there's aliens and that we have psychic powers and that you can cultivate them and that we might be part of a family of other beings out there. It's all nice and cool, but you still have this 80-year legacy program out there with perhaps superpowers, which completely rogue and probably runs the planet. And that has to come out first before we can sort of move on. If we skip that part, right, that's extremely dangerous to skip it. And I think sort of one of the things of the controlled narrative is sort of for us to look away from, forget all the reverse engineered technology over here. Just look at the happy aliens and friendly honey bunnies and foxes and deers over there, right? The sort of Disney disclosure. So I think we should sort of look into the mirror first before we sort of can, ascend.
Yeah, I agree. And Ross is right. And we can't have if Lou was involved, and he's most certainly was, because he's a counter intel guy, and if he was already involved in counter intel activity to shape the narrative, we don't need someone like that to be the UFO czar. We need someone. We need like Stephen Greer. We need someone like David Grush. Someone that's just going to go after it and just break it wide open. Yeah. And to your point, Nick, so we can grow up, right? I mean, this information that's been just denied to humanity is a crime. I think it's a crime against humanity, actually.
Yeah, and it's also treating us like children, like we can't handle the truth. And in order to sort of grow up and become mature,
they are not treating us like children. They are treating us like goyams. They are
like
mocking us.
Yeah.
President of United States is posting a photo of him with aliens, like an AI photo, but still.
But I like this one from Jake Barber, even though Jake Barber is, of course, also literally from the Legacy program, as he admits himself, and a red teamer.
Open source, white world, out in the open, black world is, highly cleared, sensitive stuff. Is that right?
Yeah, I think the good way to think about it is the black world that we operate in is like a 4-dimensional projection into a 3-dimensional world. It has its presence here, and there's indications of it, but you're not going to get it because so much of what you're seeing is tied and connected to other things through another dimension you're not paying attention to. And that's how this exists. That's how we exist. And that's how we manipulate reality and truth and get away with things that people don't understand.
That is unbelievable. You sound like Carl Sagan describing Platonic solids.
And I don't mean
you're
to
describing an elite note.
Yeah, but that's sort of the problem, right? Because we don't have the full context, we don't have the full knowledge, so we can't even comprehend what they're doing, right? Because we're only seeing small pieces here and there, and we don't see the entire picture. So we need that transparency before we can sort of. But I think that's what the controlled narrative is about, right? To hide that full picture so that we can be manipulated.
Yeah, I mean the guys that set up the system are elitists, occultists. They don't believe you deserve to know unless it's earned, right? This is the mentality of them. I think it was in the book of not Corey Good, but one of the UFO researchers from the 80s. He got on a phone call with Vannevar Bush, MJ12, one of the MJ12 guys, and he basically told him, he's like, look, you guys. He basically said, who do you think you are, to know this truth? Like that's what he was saying. Like these gatekeepers don't believe most of humanity deserve this knowledge, So it might be like an initiation thing, or you have to go through initiation. But
remember sort of the ending of South Park when they talk about Scientology, and then sort of like what is revealed at the end of it. Something crazy like that, that we. That even if you hear it, you're like, what?
Right. What is it? The Scientologist is 38 beings, right? That's inside every human. Yeah. Yeah,
and that they have to be released, and that they were thrown into a volcano, and I don't know, super weird shit. But it's actually what they're being revealed, right, at the highest levels.
It's something like that, yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm sure they set up a system like that.
Yeah. But what if it's actually true, right?
No, that's definitely not true. There are many possibilities, infinite possibility, but that's not the possibility.
But I want to play this clip from Jake. This is really cool.
Science contest and won a state science fair based on a project I had done.
What was the project?
It's called Color Chords. And in my music class, we had learned at a very rudimentary level this thing called the circles of fifths, which is basically a pie chart where you can break down and learn the intervals of harmonies. Basically, you got a root note. From any root note, there's what's called a perfect fifth, and that fifth rings a harmony, which is pleasant. There's also a third, and in a major chord, you have a first, a third, and a fifth. In a minor chord, you have a first, a minor third, which is a half an interval down, but you keep that major fifth, and it makes what people refer to as like a sad sound or a sad, but they're both beautiful. It's more of a happy beautiful and then like a deeper dramatic beautiful. So the understanding of harmony in the sound world is when wavelengths overlap in a way that forms some form of geometry that is enhancing rather than degrading to the independent waveforms, you get something like harmony, and your ear can pick that up and your emotions can react to it in a variety of ways. So I'm like, well, shoot, if photons make waveforms, are there color combinations that can have that same complementary interplay where when the colors combine that they're pleasant? And could it be that they actually elicit the exact same emotions? It was really cool. I did well in our local area, and I went on to county, and then I went on to the state, and I got awarded with like 10 other kids an award at the state level for that project.
Brilliant.
That really reminded me of this scene over here. And by the way, also, remember when he sort of did the interview with Ross Coulthard on News Nation with Jake Barber, because that was the first interview. And then when he talks about this encounter with this egg, how he sort of became, very emotional because of the music in his head and the emotions running through him, and that it was like a sad, beautiful, and so it was sort of directly connected also to his UAP encounter, the way he describes it. But it also reminds me of this.
Oh yeah.
So these
Oh, that's the movie, man. That was so amazing.
But the aliens are communicating with color and sound. In that,
And the best part was like the whole world was involved in that. He got that notes from India, and then there were other places like Gobi Desert. They were finding stuff over there. That was like amazing movie. And then we got this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When you put it that way, it is a step backwards. But going back to harmonics, I mean, that's Walter Russell talks about the universe.
Oh, before we go, that was 1960s, and the graphics CGI was 100 times better.
Was it seriously 60s?
Yeah, it was 66 or 68 or something like that.
Yeah, man.
Which one?
Third Strange Encounter of the Third
It was
Kind.
77.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Okay.
70s, and now we are in 2026. The CGI was much better. Looked very real.
And also, with music, what you see with modern music, I mean, when you look in the past, with this harmonies and melodies and like Bach of Beethoven, these musical pieces are enhancing, right? They're and they draw in communities, like they're communal music pieces. And nowadays we have isolated, formulaic, reduced music that often even doesn't resemble music anymore, right? So if people are sort of musical beings in a sense, and I think they are, because that also ties into what Jay Anderson with his acoustic Age of Stone is talking about, psychoacoustics, and aliens communicate with us through colors and harmonies and music and sound. Then we, as human beings, are purposely downgraded in order for us to not be able to receive the message,
Right. One thing you guys were talking about is, listening, right? And not to listen here and, be very careful what we listen to. The ending of the movie, she says, listen, and it ends.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah. So what is she telling us there? Listen to who? To them, to our government, to ourselves, all of it.
Yeah, well, that's a really great point, because remember also in the movie, the girl, the woman, the Fairfield, she has the tongue that she can speak and understand tongues, and that's why she sort of can communicate with the alien, of course, and translate for it.
All right.
But the boy, I forgot his name. He's not such a good actor, by the way. And
no.
I also, everybody says Colin Firth was so great as the bad guy, but I don't know.
No, I think when she said listen, she meant listen to UAP podcast.
Nice one.
True.
Brilliant. I'm going to use that.
But the boy, he was mathematics, right? Which is the sound of the logic of the universe, but also of music, right?
Yeah.
So that's very interesting right there. So it's sound and mathematics, which is sort of the backbone of music.
Yeah, and we're all so distracted. We don't really listen anymore. With our headphones on, with our scrolling, with endless entertainment, we don't really listen. So it's a good message there.
I still think in another universe where this movie was made into a comedy, there's a little scene that continues after that. Listen, the alien wants you guys to know that Jesus Christ is our savior. And it turns out they worship a human named Jesus. What? Plot twist.
Yeah, what if the deep state is actually creating hybrids and then bringing them out with their message like, "Hey, we are your saviors," right? And then
Yeah.
Hybrid of what?
I mean, yeah, an AI human hybrid maybe. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. If I was in their shoes, I'd probably do that.
I'm your god.
I mean, not saying I'm psychotic or anything, but I'm saying if you empathize with these elite families who are always worried about losing power and their wealth, they'll do anything to protect it. So yeah, creating hybrids and then releasing them and saying they're old gods, that's not crazy.
Or angels.
Or angels, yeah, anything to just manipulate the whole globe, right?
That's one way to go about it.
Oh, guys, is there anything else?
Any of that narrative, by the way.
Yeah.
The only narrative I can expect is just what I told you. They are evolved in a different planet or created on a different planet. That's it.
Makes sense.
And we have to scientifically prove that. What's his name? One of the whistleblowers, Dylan Borland. He talks about how the U.S. government says there is no proof of extraterrestrial life or whatever. He goes, yeah, they're right. He goes, if you want proof, scientific proof, you have to take whatever crash or whatever the debris, and then go to that planet, and that's the only way to prove it, right? Scientifically, you have to go to the other planet. So he says it doesn't matter that they say there's no scientific proof, because that's what you'd have to do to prove it scientifically.
If they are from other planets, right? Because we don't even know that.
Right. Yeah.
I think when I'm thinking about the psyop, I think that was one of the big psyops, that they were presented as extraterrestrials, right? They don't have to be, right? But if you present them as extraterrestrials, then everybody will say it's impossible for them to come here because it's like light years away and blah blah blah. But what if they're something completely different?
Yeah. And the government will not use the term NHI. I forget who tried to make them use it. Some journalist or a few journalists, and they were trying to get a statement from Susan Go, the spokesperson for the DoD, and she wouldn't use the term non-human intelligence. So there's that. For some reason, they'll say no evidence of extraterrestrial life, but then they refuse to use NHI.
Yeah. Guys,
but then she's one thing, but then JD Vance come out and say aliens are demons, which is like saying they are non-human intelligence.
Yeah, that's true.
I won't take government people seriously, to be honest. They just say whatever they want to say.
Yeah,
just say random stuff.
And also, again, like these are all labels that connote certain things to certain people, but they're not like clear definitions anyway, right? Because dolphins are also non-human intelligences.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
So if you don't define the terms, then you can make them mean whatever you wanna, mean.
Yeah, I guess you'd have to ask. You'd have to add humanoid NHI.
Yeah, for example, but then of course, what is our consciousness? There's no definition also on consciousness itself, right? So
and that's the conversation that's coming in now, is consciousness and trying to understand that.
Yep. Yeah, and that will be very interesting.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess the consensus, if we take an average of all of us, it's probably a 5. The movie, I'd say.
Yeah, I think 5 is nice.
That's I'd say that's fair. You know what I did? I've watched twice now. Project Hail Mary, and I think
great.
I think that's a much better movie. Different theme,
so good.
Different theme, obviously, but I don't know. It's in that same realm. I love the book, and I thought the movie was great. And that's in fact, my mom, who saw Disclosure Day and saw Project Hail Mary, was like, "Oh, that's such a better movie."
Such a better movie.
Yeah. I was scared that what you were gonna say. I saw Disclosure Day twice, right? So
no, I couldn't. I wouldn't. Maybe I'll watch it again in like 5-10 years when I've completely forgotten about it. But that's the other thing, is no staying power. I mean, I remember the movie, but like I don't care about it at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Hail Mary is one of those that where the trailers again did not depict it right. It actually put me off from watching it, the trailers. And then when I watched Yeah, and then when I streamed it, I was like, "Holy shit, that's a great movie!" And I wished I watched it in the theater.
Me too. It would have been really good on a big screen.
Yeah, but I'm actually glad they kept a lot of things out. You know, when he saw the craft. Yeah, I mean, no spoilers, but yeah, there was a lot of surprises that were not in the trailers, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, and then for the people listening, go watch that movie, and then go also watch The Burrows. And if you want another great movie recommendation, go watch Obsession, because that's one.
Oh, I've heard that's good.
Yeah.
So, guys, do you want to have anything to say before you go, or want to?
Other than do we have anything planned next week, Topher, or we're all just normal?
Okay, I am fingers crossed going to finish my article finally about the Maje UFO incident in Brazil.
Nice.
That's a big one.
Nice. That should be fun.
What's that?
I want to read it.
Yeah, well, you guys will be the first to know when it's up.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Looking forward to it. Yeah.
All right,
so follow UAP the podcast on Twitter and on YouTube and on I think you're on many different places, right?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah. We're everywhere.
Everywhere. So go follow them everywhere and give our podcast a like and a retweet or repost, I should say. And we'll see you guys next week or very soon.
Sweet.
Bye everyone.
Take care.
Bye.